Okay, and we're live. Welcome back to another week of Zen Waves Live, where we share sustainability news from our main site Zenbird.media and see what's up this week. And as you can see, there's a number of articles that we're gonna like to be sharing today, and I think we're gonna go for 5 articles today. Now, a few housekeeping before I start. One, we're not gonna have a meatless Monday stream next Monday. Some of the team members will be on the move, so I don't think we will be able to stream on our usual time at Monday 12:30. So we're planning to reschedule it if it's possible, maybe Thursday. We'll have to look at our logistics and probably do something about that then. And another, yes, we might not be able to do Zenwaves live stream next Friday too at this usual time, 6 p.m. Japan Standard Time. Again, we have to reschedule that, and yeah, look out for updates on our Twitter or Facebook, and maybe we'll find, when we have a better time, we'll let you know on those 2 platforms. Yeah. Okay. Now, some of you might have read the description. So we actually have 2 climate articles today. Well, in the next coming few weeks, there's going to be more about climate and climate solutions. Well, not in the traditional sense, like what Fridays for Future will be promoting. As you know, on this website, on our channel, we try to push the concept of a circular economy. While the rest of the world is focusing so much on energy, and it's important to focus on energy, Zenbird also wants to let our viewers know that as consumers, there's another step that we need to take. The other half of the story that we have not addressed, and that is the way we use things. And circular economy is a solution towards a wasteful capitalistic society that many developed countries are built upon, including Japan. So yeah, we'll be looking at a few things, and yeah, we already have a few articles ready, waiting to be released in the next few weeks, and it'll be very interesting. It'll help us look at including today's Ipcc warning about Asia. We're going to be looking at strategies that circular businesses use, so that once we know the strategies that they use, we can identify who is really sustainable, and we try to avoid all the greenwashers. And yeah, let's not delay any longer. Let's jump into our first article. Okay, let me switch this up. Okay. And of course, our first article will be Ipcc about climate change, of course, the climate crisis. Ipcc warns of increase in climate refugees and heat-related deaths in Asia. Now, when we were looking at the Ipcc report, we were thinking, it's such a big issue. Rather than just focusing on Japan itself, we wanted to look at, what kind of things we can expect in Asia. What kind of climate effects can we expect? I think there's a lot of concerns, and even let's say you're not in Asia, you will find similar, terrifying effects that are happening already around the world. So this is something that we can easily empathize with, and as we go along in the next few weeks, we'll realize that it's not just about knowing what is coming. This second part of 6th report of the Ipcc really tells us that okay, it's here. We need to do something about it, and now is the time to take action about it. There's still the call to force ourselves to fight against the global increase. We are trying to avoid the 1.5 degrees global warming, right? And now we are already at 1.09, and we are close approaching it. So we always have this climate counter climate clock update. The red number, the numbers in the red side, yeah, that's our carbon clock. How much time before too much carbon dioxide equivalent is too much. Anyway, yes, jumping into our first article today. Ipcc 6th Assessment Report on Climate Change was released on February 28. Every 5 to 6 years, scientists recommended by governments evaluate the latest findings from scientific research on climate change and publish an assessment report. From this report, we are going to look at the impact of climate change on Asia, including Japan. Water and food supply threatened. Droughts in Asian countries are expected to increase by 5% to 20% by the end of the century, making the supply of water resources unstable. Particularly West and Central Asia will face severe water shortage challenges by the mid-21st century on several international transboundary rivers, including the Indus and Ganges. In addition to drought, there will be declines in food productions, fisheries, aquaculture, livestock production, and crop production, especially in South and Southeast Asia, in association with monsoon rains and average seawater temperature and pressure conditions. For example, in India, rice production could decline by 10% to 30%, and maize production by 25% to 70%, assuming a temperature increase of 1% to 1 degrees to 4 degrees. Similarly, rice production in Cambodia could decrease by 45% with a temperature increase of 1 degrees to 4 degrees. In addition, warming-related pest outbreaks are expected to threaten major rice-producing countries in Asia, including Japan. And yeah, water and food is a major issue that I feel that not enough people are aware of this. I think those who are not aware is really from the global north, people who are usually in the more developed countries, the richer countries, because these are effects that developing countries are already feeling. India, Indonesia. For Indonesia, I'm really worried about Indonesia because one, again, of course, food production, and they're in the midst of between developed and developing country, and even Jakarta is facing, if I'm not wrong, a sinking issue, which makes flooding even more more acute. So yeah, it is a very constant worrying issue for everyone, really, because all countries are connected by trade. If we're talking about economy, and we haven't gotten to the point where we are self-sufficient, and we cannot forget that we need to talk about climate reparation, and it's a very complex issue that affects everyone. Continuing with the article, climate change. And climate change threatens our mental health and physical health. Climate change is also linked to mental health and has been noted to increase depression, anxiety, and suicide risk. It also threatens our physical health, including vector-borne diseases, malnutrition, and allergic diseases. Floods and droughts, for example, negatively affect food availability and prices, and increased malnutrition in South and Southeast Asia. Heavy rains and rising temperatures increase the risk of diarrhea diseases, dengue fever, and malaria in tropical and subtropical Asia. Increased number of climate refugees in Asia and urban impacts. Ironically, the poor will be most affected by climate change, even though being least complicit in climate change. Therefore, the disparity continues to grow. 1 in 3 migrants now come from Asia, with the highest proportion of migrants from climate change affected Pacific countries. In 2019, Bangladesh, China, India, and the Philippines each recorded more than 4 million disaster-related migrations. In Southeast and East Asia, cyclones, floods, and typhoons caused 9.6 million internally displaced persons in 2019, accounting for almost 30% of displaced people worldwide. Meanwhile, economic development has led to an increasing number of people living in underdeveloped regions with the least capacity to adapt to climate change. For example, with a population of 163 million people, Bangladesh is arguably the most vulnerable country in the world to climate risks, with droughts, heat waves, storm surges, severe flooding, and cyclones occurring regularly. Eventually, climate change and increased extreme events will increase migration flows across Asia, and the number of areas considered vulnerable to climate change will continue to grow. Japan already ranks among the top 10 countries in the world in terms of average annual loss due to disasters. Climate change will also interact with urban areas. By 2080, heat-related deaths are expected to increase from 940 to 100 million urban dwellers in South and Southeast Asia due to extreme heat and intense heat waves lasting more than 30 days per year. The urban heat island effect will be promoted throughout Asian countries. The heat wave days in Japan will increase by more than 20 days per year, and the frequency of heat wave days and related deaths will increase significantly in megacities such as Tokyo, Osaka, and Nagoya. Importance of individuals working for system change. These things will actually happen in the future. Unless we reduce greenhouse gases to zero. No, we can't. Okay. You do not reduce greenhouse gases to zero. Greenhouse gases is needed to retain heat in the atmosphere, and this is a miss that we got to fix here. What we want to do is reduce the emissions of greenhouse gases to zero. And by emissions, I really do mean by human control, human caused emissions. Number one, stop burning fossil fuels. Simple. Continuing. So sadly, there are already a reality in climate change hotspots, places with strong climate signals and high concentrations of vulnerable people. I'm getting this headache, and it's causing me to misread a lot of things. I'm going to slow down. The areas of ongoing impact and the severity of impacts continue to grow. One of my university classmates, the writers, who is from Sri Lanka, where massive flooding and landslides occurring in many areas, including the largest city, Colombo, in June 2021, told me, "For me, climate change is already a reality. I am learning to change my government so that I and future generations can live. Changing individual behavior is not enough. We each should push for systemic change against governments and large corporations." I think this ending can be written better. Of course, governments needs to push harder, no more blah blah blah. And I think we also need to learn how to adapt. It's already here, like the writer's classmate has already said, it is a reality for millions around the world, and it will continue to climb. One, if we continue the way that we are operating at, and two, how are we going to this crash is coming? How are we going to make sure the crash? How are we going to handle the crash? How are we going to lower the impact of the crash. And of course, well, we have solutions. That's the thing, and it's really, we need stronger leadership. And if we're talking about Japan, yes, lots more in leadership than just pushing it back and pushing it back. Swift and daring action is really needed right now. Oh dear. And we okay, so once in a while our streams will turn out very strange, because we have the browser will just freeze on me like this and I cannot continue. There's no way to lighten the load of my setup. Give me a moment. I thought I closed this additional apps. Okay, good. Okay, so we will go to our backup plan. Shall read from my handphone. So you guys got to listen to this like a podcast instead. Okay, well, we'll move on to our second article, which is it's a mix of issues like gender, from well-being to policy, and yeah, the title of this, as you can see from the right side of the screen, is ensuring government cash handouts reach domestic violence victims. Okay, I'm gonna until the screen comes back. So, in the past 2 years, COVID-19 has affected us, and the government has provided benefits to citizens in Japan. However, victims of domestic violence have been unable to receive these benefits due to the system. In many cases, the perpetrators have received them instead, and people have raised their voices to fight this inequality. Thanks to the effort, the government has begun to take a more flexible approach to ensure that these benefits go to those who need them the most. In Japan, citizens and residents need to register their information and indicate the head of household at each municipality to receive official documents from the government. As a married or de facto couple living together, one partner must become the head. It's something that people need to think about. Their dependents then can receive a deduction for social insurance. The All Japan Women's Shelter Network has received some consultations from victims who have shared stories such as, "My husband, the head of the household, received the benefits. I could neither talk with him about how to spend it or ask him how to share it with me because he would violate or abuse me if I tried to have a conversation with him." The All Japan Women's Shelter Network has compiled these facts and advocated for women. On February 8, the Minister for Economic Revitalization, Daishiro Yamagiwa, reorganized the system to make the benefits available to those in such situations. Consulting with spousal violence counseling and support centers to receive benefits. Now, such individuals can proceed to receive the benefits at the City Hall where they currently reside, regardless of where they are and their residency. Objective evidence of domestic violence makes the procedure easier, so consulting with spousal violence counseling and support centers nearby at first can be helpful. Now, based on the official documents that are released, applicants should be aware of the following tips. The requirements for applicants are summarized on page 2. Well, there's a link in our article if you're interested in if you know anyone that needs to to apply for this, please direct them to our link. Now, our screen is frozen, but you can find it in the description below. The second article of and yeah, the requirements for the applicants are summarized on page 2 of the document. Then make sure you have prepared the necessary documents to show the person at your city hall. The national government has notified each municipality with the same document. In case they do not follow the guidance, tell them that you have evacuated your household with your child due to domestic violence and ask for flexible accommodation. Second thing you need to know is you may be worried that your partner will know where you have evacuated to. The prefectural governments are in charge of the procedures. They don't inform your whereabouts to the municipality you originally resided in. However, to be safe, please ask the person in charge at the city hall not to tell your partner about your whereabouts. If you have some uncomfortable experience with the city hall, consultation is also available. Reducing inequality through our action. Through the efforts of the All Japan Women's Shelter Network, the government strives to solve this inequality. If you are in this situation, please know that you are not alone and that these supports are available around you. The organization accepts donations to support victims of domestic violence in Japan. Find out the details on its website to make donations. Now the links are all on the article. Please, if you know someone or if you really need it, please refer to our article, and you will find the necessary links for you to help you. From time to time, I hang around Reddit, and from time to time you see people really need help. And one thing, language barrier is one thing. The laws are not enough to, in a way, protect women, and that is a very big issue. Okay, so the browser still continues to freeze. So anyway, we just move on to our next article, shall we? So the next one is about Japan's toy industry moving away from traditional gender role marketing, which is about time. Think about how you say. There was a time where toys weren't divided into boys or girls, but no, that's not true. Okay, I need to fact check that, but I think that in modern times, the divide, the need to define male or female, even in toys, has been pushed too far. So much so that it is hard to bring back the vagueness of things, which it doesn't really support the diversity that our society is moving towards and really needs. Anyway, let's continue with our article. Gender equality, as stated in the SDGs, is to realize a society where each person is free to make choices regardless of gender. This trend has recently spilled over into Japanese toy industry by introducing products that challenge gender expectations in society. Care dolls for both genders. Japanese toy manufacturer Bandai, very big toy maker here in Japan, launched a new boys care doll, Horan, in 2019. About 40% of the toys users are boys. According to a Bandai representative, during a visit to a preschool, he noticed once again that not only girls but also boys enjoy playing with dolls. With the gradual acceptance of male child rearing in Japan, boys may have become interested after seeing their fathers take care of their babies. Playing with dolls is an important experience for all children, not just girls, to nurture their caring hearts. Neji Happy for girls who want to DIY. Japanese toy company People launched Neji Happy, a tool-based toy targeting girls, in 2018. This toy uses an electric screwdriver to build sparkly toys, boxes and houses. While most tool-based toys have been aimed at boys, against the backdrop of the DIY boom among girls, the company was the first in the industry to create such a product targeting girls as well. The company says it has tried to strike a balance between realism and cuteness while considering safety. Expanding options, not denying gender differences. The Japan Toy Association has abolished the boys' toys and girls' toys categories from the 2021 Japan Toy Awards and established new categories such as character toys. There we are. Let me close the other tabs. Let's see we then come back. Wonderful to have it back, but let's hope it doesn't freeze again. So we were talking about care dolls, and it looks like this. I think the key thing about this is about the role playing part. And when children learns a lot from their parents, and as I say, playing with dolls is an important experience for all children. And boys may have become interested after seeing their fathers take care of their babies. And this is the Neji Happy. We're talking about a tool-based toy, and this is how it looks like. It's really interesting, and it's definitely fun. The process of making. So we were at our last part, expanding options, not denying gender differences. And so we were talking how Japan Toy Awards have removed the categories called boys' toys or girls' toys and established new categories such as character toys. It appears that the industry as a whole is changing its mindset. Tsuda, as executive director of the Japan Toy Association, commented, "It is important not to deny gender differences, but instead not to narrow the range of choices by imposing them based on gender. We want to promote efforts in the industry so that children can choose what they like and develop their individuality. Gender stereotypes are imprinted from childhood. An environment in which children can choose their favorite colors, games, and occupations, regardless of gender roles, can help build their self-esteem. Remarks such as playing with care dolls because she's a girl, or play fighting because he is a boy, could reinforce children's sense of gender bias. Perhaps when we give gifts to children in our lives, we may need to pause and think about the environments we create for them through these toys." Now, if we look at all the gender, all the discussion that is happening around gender in Japan, especially, education for children comes up as one of the priorities, and seeing toys that are moving away from traditional gender roles is a great thing to see. Now, of course, not all toys are making that change, but I think this is a good first step, and having a toys association that gives out awards is taking the lead in the industry to show, hey, we are removing this, we are moving forward with progress, progressive thoughts about what gender and from here sexuality is. And with that effect, we're coming to our fourth article, which is about LGBT. Now you will see number 1, which is our first series. From here out, we're working with the writer and see if we can introduce more LGBT-friendly, LGBT-oriented services in Japan. And as we did, we realized, it's not just about LGBT, but we want to do, find services where anyone who wants to can express themselves in a certain way, and that is the direction that we're taking with this new series of recommendation of shop products, services recommendations. And let's jump into this. This is the first article in the series that will introduce services available in Japan for people who enjoy a diversity of expression, including gender diversity. Includes, but is not limited to, the LGBTQ community and their allies. By the way, before I continue, I think the team really wants to start pushing for, a new term rather than simply just LGBT, which sometimes, if you think about it, doesn't really include the whole wonderful spectrum of genders and sexuality. And that's why if you look at our right screen right now, we have a hashtag GSRM. This is not a new term, but I think it includes more people. We are addressing, and it's more inclusive of all the minorities. Granted, it doesn't cover everything yet, but I think this is one of the best that we have right now, and it's easier to understand how LGBT is not where you lie on which side, but across the spectrum. And there is, I wouldn't say it's just an infinite number of identities there, but I think it is a wonderful mix that we have. And GSRM is a better term that Zenbird really wants to start using. Anyway, continuing with the article. As an example, our first installment is a photo studio that specializes in using makeup and costumes to transform men into adorable-looking women. We hope these spots become indispensable places where readers can belong and express themselves as they truly are, as they want to. Makeup Salon Cotton. Makeup Salon Cotton provides a high-quality cross-dressing makeover service for men. The first outlet opened in Nakameguro in Tokyo in 2017, and the second in Umeda, Osaka in 2021. The chain receives more than 2,000 reservations a year. The salon has been sharing on social media how it transforms users from a normal male appearance to a fashionable girl featuring one of the latest trends. The work of its professional makeup artists and photographers became so popular online that followers started telling Cotton, although I am a woman, I want to use the service. As a result, in line with the salon's goal of having people enjoy its service regardless of their age or gender, on March 7 this year, that's last month. It's again it's a weird, strange writing. Okay. On March 7, it started a new operation that caters to women. So Cotton is now, which makes sense, you don't restrict who uses, but if you have a customer who wants to express themselves in a certain way, okay, this is what they allow, and it's a good move if you ask me. Now, the rental costumes that Cotton provides include popular styles like a maid, high school student, Lolita fashion, a pop idol, and the trending landmine girls and mass production styles. Now, these will make a lot more sense in Japan, but these are certain styles, names that given to certain styles. For example, the landmine style features makeup that is red under the eyes, as if the person has been crying, and clothes that are high brand paired with pouches of Sanrio brand characters such as My Melody and other friends of Hello Kitty. The mass production style is the extremely feminine and refers to wearing clothes introduced in fashion magazines exactly as they are. So, experienced staff handle the makeup, and a photographer takes the photos, making it a high quality experience. The salon also permits customers to take selfies in the studio. And there's a second one that we're going to introduce today, and that's called the Food Bath Cafe Donyoku. Okay. Food Bath Cafe Donyoku aims to be the place where people can connect, regardless of concerns such as their sexuality, age, nationality, and relax not only the mind but also the body in communal food bath. Yeah, this is how it looks like. If you haven't experienced food bath in Japan, yeah, this is actually a very it feels weird at first. You're indoors with your food bath, but yeah, it's something that you can enjoy, and it's communal. We have seen in our past articles that we can the sense of community is important in creating these such spaces. We'll continue with the article so that you get an idea what we're talking about. Located in Shinjuku's Nichome district, which has developed a gathering place for LGBT people. It also aims to create a place of equality where people are not bound by categorization. Store manager Satoko Nagamura says the usual idea of the food bath sitting has created a place where multiple people can talk with other visitors frankly. People tend to be nervous when they talk with someone for the first time, but I thought if they talked in the food bath, they will be warm and relaxed, so the conversation will be lively, she told the Matcha website. Nagamura also runs an izakaya pub called Teppan Onna Sakaba Dorobune on the same floor. It is aimed at female sexual minorities and their friends and families. While running the izakaya, Nagamura began to think that while it is necessary to divide by sexuality, it is also important to respect people's personality without being bound by categorization. So, the sitting at Donyoku includes counter seats and tables, and their arrangements can be arranged freely. It is a place that responds to visitors' needs flexibly to provide them with a comfortable time. Donyoku has an English language menu, and the staff speak varying levels of English. So if you are an LGBT person, sorry, I gotta change my words. If you are a GSRM individual, yeah, this new series is really wants to introduce such places so that if you're coming to Japan or if you're in Japan and you're looking for such places to be comfortable at, yeah, please come and look at our article. Again, the article link will be in the description below. Okay, since it's unstable, I think we're gonna close with this article. This article will also be in the article. Will be in the description. Don't worry. And it is a report of the event that of last week's global climate march. Global climate action. Now in Japan we call it global climate action, but if outside Japan it's called global climate strike. Okay, so and this is really an observation of seeing these times climate action, and it's quite interesting because I realized there was a key factor to all this. And that key factor is important because this time Fridays for Future is asking for more people to join them. Not in a scary way, but it's really, really fun, especially if you've watched their live stream for the last session. Oh yeah, it is rather inspiring. And they are knowledgeable, they're committed, and they still have fun. Wonderful people. Okay, let's jump into into the article. 1.5 degrees increase in global warming is the horror barrier we want to avoid. But this self-destructive truck we're riding on just crashed through the 1.0 degrees Celsius wall effortlessly. There seem to be no signs of it slowing down. At the back of the truck, you hear someone despairing. What's the point? It's too late. The self-destructive truck is, of course, the metaphorical structure that society is built upon, driven by big money, big oil, and greed. And the last outcry is the occasional comment we'll see from a forum, maybe even Twitter, one of the social networks, resulting from the many negative news about climate crisis. But to let despair or anxiety to take over now is too soon. One, because it's time to convert that worry into climate action. Two, you need inspiration by joining Fridays for Future's activities and events. Yeah, sometimes we just lack the inspiration needed because we're so bogged down by what will happen, how do we, the helplessness that we sometimes feel. And you don't have to feel that way. That's the good thing. Fridays for Future Japan and the global climate strike. Last week was Fridays for Future's global climate strike, organized by youths from various parts of the world. In Japan, we saw numerous activities held across the nation, featuring a wide range of activities, from online study sessions to protests in front of the coal power plants to the classic climate marches. So this is one of them. And even though the weight of a dim future rests heavily on their shoulders, the members of Fridays for Future Japan keep their spirits high whilst staying determined in their cause. Even though the climate clock keeps running down, they remain obstinate in their path and message while having fun in climate strikes. That's the galvanized shade of Fridays for Future Japan, and frankly, it's inspiring. Nakama and the uniting power of solidarity. Any observing last week's events, there was a powerful theme of community running through Fridays for Future Japan's activities. Each event drew a good number of participants, as more and more people are joining with those who share similar thoughts and wishes for the planet. There is a Japanese word, Nakama. While there are several meanings in English depending on the context, it represents a camaraderie among a group of friends who respect and trust each other. Nakama in Japan. Sustainable activities as platforms for this in camaraderie. Yeah, I don't think I know how to pronounce this. I'm gonna trash through this. In a joint event by Fridays for Future Okinawa, Yamanashi, and Sapporo, they invited youths to learn about climate solutions from various parts of Japan. And yes, there are solutions in Japan, if we care to look for it, like through Zenbird. Guest speakers included Protect Our Winter Japan and Yamanashi Prefecture's participation in the 4 per 1,000 initiative. And one commonality between them is how they started with a community that bonded over shared interests, be it the love for skiing in Protect Our Winter's case, or taking local produce to the next level, in this case, in a way, regional revitalization. Manati demonstrates this camaraderie as guest speaker Kinjo Yukino shared. Manati is an innovative activity where visitors to Okinawa can rent a bag for beach cleanup for 500 yen at many partner shops. Yes, you will pay to clean up. It's very strange, right? But Yeah, initially it sounds strange on paper, but the expansion of Manati proves its popularity. Of course, we see the benefits of the activity, like the cleaning up the environment, and providing an experience for sustainable tourism. The biggest revelation for the participants was how they connected with different people from various parts of Japan, and the partner shop owners joined by their common love for the ocean and planet. And you can see these Manati bags, very very bright yellow, sort of like the Ukraine flag. Yeah. Nakama across borders, a call for climate justice and reparation. We must not forget that climate fight is a global one. The same camaraderie is shared across country boundaries. It can be other climate activists who face similar obstacles. It can also be MAPA, most affected people and areas, individuals who are already combating the effects of global warming. Fridays for Future Japan took the opportunity to invite Muhyiddin Yusuf from Somaliland. Somaliland is currently suffering the severe effects of climate changes, including droughts, famine, and malnutrition. Muhyiddin is part of the Bado Shakat initiative, which fights droughts, famine, and displacement caused mainly by the climate crisis. He reminded us that even though Somaliland barely contributes to the global carbon emissions, barely 0.0002%. It is suffering the worst effects of global warming. It is currently crowdfunding to raise funds for basic necessities such as food and water for those affected. We were also reminded of our allies in Bangladesh. The youth continue fighting for Matabari in Bangladesh. We revisit the Stop Sumitomo campaign launched late January this year, aiming to stop Japan financing coal power in Matabari. While the joint efforts of Fridays for Future Bangladesh, Fridays for Future Japan, Climate Justice for the Minorities, and various youth groups have succeeded in halting the expansion plans of the coal power plant. However, Sumitomo still continues with the current constructions of 1 and 2. So they have 4, they stopped 3 and 4, but they're continuing 1 and 2, which they are phase 1. It will threaten lives, expecting the threats of river pollution and toxic gas emissions that will be unacceptable even in Japan. Now the river is a very big issue because the community depends on clean river, on the river to sustain their livelihoods, and the coal power plant is going to be polluting the river. So we're expecting destruction of lives, destruction of livelihoods. Fridays for Future reminds us once again of the importance of climate reparation and justice. Developed countries in the global north cannot close their eyes to the global south's struggle against climate change. We are responsible, so it's time to take responsibility for the consequences. Our fellow human beings are already fighting for their lives and livelihoods, and we should use our privilege to give voice to them. There are also supporters worldwide who care about the same that we do. They are our Nakama too. So, what can you do about climate change at this point? Well, action for the youths, those under 30 years old. If you are looking for Nakama, Fridays for Future Japan is one of the best places to start looking, really. They are welcoming, motivated, and they ensure that it is fun, which is arguably an essential element of sustainability. And from time to time, when you talk to other organizations about sustainability, how do they continue that sustainable activity? And it doesn't feel like a burden that you have to do it. Sometimes we think that doing sustainability means we have to give out something to attain it, which is not true. So activities can be fun, products can be fun, services can still be fun. And I think Fridays for Future Japan especially has hit that beautiful mark, that perfect mark of how fun it can be continue to do the next one. Look forward to doing the next one. There are currently 34 Fridays for Future sales in Japan listed on the website with their Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook account links if they use any of this. Even if you do not find a local group, that means wherever you're staying you don't have the group, you are most welcome to join other groups. As shared, there is no rule that you cannot join another group from another region, though the manner of activity might be different. So the list of Friday for Future Japan sales in Japan is on the lower half of the page. If you click onto the link there, it'll bring you to Fridays for Future's page. And you find their social networks and you can contact them and join in. Continuing, and it is normal to feel unsure of what we can contribute to. Very often that realization comes later when we have spent some time with the group and start seeing the gaps that we can feel. So don't let it stop you from reaching out. Fridays for Future Japan introduced an interesting prospect in their closing event, calling businesses to interview their stand on climate change. Let me get some water. Right, continuing. Representatives from Made in Earth shared their non-judgmental interview process to interact with interviewee companies. This action might seem daunting because, really, you're just calling them out of the blue, really, in Japan, and but it is a highly rewarding experience. I mean, our team does interviews, and we know how educational, how inspiring, how eye-opening such interviews can be. And I think Made in Earth us sharing such an idea with the members or to youths who are interested in taking action, this is a very rewarding action. Continuing, especially if youths are seeking assurance in the brands that they are supporting, it creates awareness within the companies too. So maybe you're above 30 years old, what can you do? Well, the action for adults. Multi-talented performer Komi Ai was also a guest at Fridays for Future Japan's closing event. She reminded participants that we must voice out against the climate crisis and injustice so that others suffering and their loss of place of belonging can be avoided. And this is what we should do. Furthermore, just because Fridays for Future events are organized by youths, it doesn't mean we can't join in the fun. With the COVID situation stabilizing and cautious optimism returning, Fridays for Future events are making it easier for us to stand up and say no to a dirty future. And I think in the past 2 years we have seen that, especially in Japan. When I still remember when Fridays for Future in Japan started out, we had, you really got to respect these youths, even though there weren't the numbers, they continued doing it because it was the right thing. And now more and more people are joining it. It's easier for people to say, okay, I'm not too sure if I want to join 1 or 2 people, but now there's 10, there's 20 people. It's much easier to step in and say what you think, to find your nakama, really. But anyway, what is the first thing that you should do? However, follow them on their social networks, please. That is where they update their latest news, activities, events, and sometimes they always post useful information that you can consume in just within a minute. You learn something new every day about climate. And if you're not too sure where to start with Fridays for Future Japan's Instagram, and you find links from there. But there, of course, most actions doesn't require whether you need to be a youth or you need to be an adult. There's a lot of things that we can do. So, for example, reflecting on the goals of Fridays for Future Japan, here is a guideline for what Japan needs to do to tackle this global climate crisis. and it is what Fridays for Future Japan wants to do. To end financing coal in and out of Japan by 2030 and make the shift to 100% renewables. To raise Japan's nationally determined contributions to at least 62%, which means committing to how much cut in greenhouse gases, in emissions. So Japan will commit more and drive urgent change. Insist on a just transition to decarbonize our economy and create a sustainable society. Because this is a chance to change, really. Stop greenwashing by companies to looking to cash in on an eco trend, which is a big issue, very, very big issue. And even Zenbird can identify such businesses, and it's not a good thing. To listen to MAPAs and not invade their rights, amplify their voices against climate injustice. And by the way, they say climate justice now. There are millions who are suffering now, and we need to do something about it. So, reiterating, but if you are interested in assisting Mujahideen in alleviating Somaliland's climate plight, there's the link for GoFundMe crowdfunding page. The petition to stop Sumitomo and Jika continues, dictating the seriousness of how life-threatening their coal-fired power plants are to local communities. And it's not just in Bangladesh. There's one in Indonesia, and I think Vietnam, if I'm not wrong. I'm having a headache, so that name is not coming to me. But yeah, it's not just in Bangladesh that they need to stop. Yes, as Fridays for Future said, we want Japan to stop financing coal anywhere in the world. And well, do consider signing the petition to make your voices heard. You can find out more from Fridays for Future Japan Climate Justice for Minorities sources too. For cafes and restaurants, this is something that Fridays for Future shared during their closing event too. Start introducing a reuse system. Yeah, to halt the use of disposables and think about partnering with reusable services. Now, Zenbird has interviewed such services, and they are on pilot tests, and they are going well. They are expanding their pilot tests, so we expect them to be going well, like Re and Go, or there are zero waste cafes popping up slowly in Japan, like Veg Out. They can be role models for people who want to be zero waste. Jesus. Sorry for that. Anyway, we're ending soon. Let me trudge through this. For consumers, we can support such F&B establishments too. Seriously, this is one of the things that we learned. SMEs in Japan are very powerful. 90% of the country, it runs on SMEs, and they can be the messenger for example, zero waste, for sustainability, for plastic free. And as consumers, even for those who are not sure, who have probably never heard of sustainability, there's a chance for them to learn. And that in that way, these SMEs become the influencers for sustainable concepts. And for media, this was something that Fridays for Future also mentioned. For the media, we need to bring more attention, urgency, and knowledge to surrounding the climate issues. And this is one thing that Zenbird really wants to do, is to push for to share solutions. That there are solutions. If you are suffering from anxiety, we want to alleviate that worry, because we have solutions, and what we need to do is take action. For example, to participate in the climate strikes, to join in marches, to show the government that we want something changed. And Japan usually so slow, they will not act until it's too late. And Yeah, that is a very big worry. It is already too late to say there is still time. And yeah, okay. So continuing, you have friends to walk with and act together on this climate path. So yeah, the point of this article is really to tell you that you're not alone. And after seeing what Fridays for Futures have put out throughout the week, and we are seeing a lot of motivated people, and this is the best time to join in and help bring that movement to Japan. In our previous interview with climate campaigner Kimiko Hirata, this temple nearby, I'm not too sure if you could hear a bell. Anyway, continuing. In our previous interview with climate campaigner Kimiko Hirata, we were enlightened to the fact that it may no longer be enough to lead a sustainable lifestyle, but we need to also take part in activism. In addition, it doesn't need to be rebellious or violence, which is often the image protests have in Japan. Japan's style can be described as not bold, not loud, but not silent. And you will have your personal way of taking part, your own way of protesting. And the best thing is, you don't have to do it alone. There is solidarity, and you will have Nakama willing to take climate action with you. Oh, I can feel the browser acting strange again, which means this might be a place to end the stream. So yeah, okay, so 5 articles take about one hour to share. Initially, in these streams we'll explore more, like the free time, and we'll explore other issues, other topics together. But today it seems again our connection doesn't seem to be too, stable. So we'll end it here. Now, as I shared in the beginning of the stream, the stream might very likely not be next Friday, 6 p.m. Japan Standard Time. So we'll keep everyone posted on when the next stream will be. Until then, it is Friday. Once again, it is Friday. Make sure you recharge over the weekend so that you can fight the good fight. And we'll see you next week when we see you.